My favorite thing about UWC is that it really does unite people, in that it's hard to hate someone or hate a country or a people if you know someone from there or if you've connected with people from the area. And so just looking at UWC in a very literal sense, the fact that there's 120 countries at this school represented, it shows that it's much harder for us if we ever become important, if we ever become in the position to become change makers. It's harder for us to say, oh, well, that country doesn't matter or this is not as important, because we've understood more of those people. We know them. Like spending time with different people that I haven't talked to on balconies, in hammocks, and just having movie nights with my friends have been really great memories. Just because there's so much pressure on us here, but there's also a lot of time for us to engage with our peers, to learn more about other people's nationalities and cultures. And there's really nothing better than just laying on a hammock and talking to people you haven't talked to before about their lives and what they've experienced. My second year project week was actually about the first time I've ever lived in a way that wasn't extraordinarily privileged. I think we often forget living now, like how different it was even 2 centuries ago, 3 centuries ago for humans to live. You know, there was no air conditioning, no heating, electricity wasn't a thing. And this sort of luxury we have of like toilets and showers and food all the time, that it's the kind that we want, and we can buy some other kinds if we don't want that from across the world. Like those kinds of luxuries have just become staples of our daily lives. But being in Project Week, I was exposed to a completely different way of living. I didn't have really a shower, we didn't have hot water, we didn't have heating in our home, and it was freezing cold at night. And it just taught me, like, this is the reality of human life for the past, couple millennia, for all of human history until about 100 years ago. And I think that that's a really eye-opening experience, and also gives me the ability to understand more the challenges facing certain countries in terms of poverty, in terms of development, in terms of what course the world needs to be taking to encourage like growth, but also a sustainable use of our resources. And I also, another thing about Chinese travel is I didn't realize the Chinese people, how friendly they are and how open they are to helping. I've very rarely encountered a Chinese person who wasn't willing to help me, even though my Chinese is terrible and they had to repeat what they were saying 10 times. They were still always willing to help me find where I needed to go, and I really appreciate that. I think that was interesting to see a different aspect of Chinese culture than I had understood before. But I'm probably gonna miss my friends the most, and like the people. Everyone says that they're gonna miss the people, and it's not necessarily that I think I can't find the people elsewhere. I'm not saying that I think that people here are one of a kind. I think that we are unique in the fact that we came here, and we're unique in the way that our lives took us. But I don't think that we're incredibly special in that way. I think that it's more about the place that we are and the time that we're here. Our paths have crossed in life for a pretty random reason. We could have been a year older, a year younger, and never met. And I think that that's kind of the reason why I'm treasuring more the people here, because I know that at the end of the day, when I leave, we're never going to be all together here again. And there's going to be a lot that I'm going to miss, like going to the village with my friends and going to Shanghai for a weekend and going to Suzhou and exploring. Those things I'll definitely miss, but it's mostly because I know that even if I see them again, I'll never have the same feeling as being here with them at this UWC and having the same struggles, having the same lives together. I'm really thankful that I had the opportunity to come here at all. And I'm thankful that this movement exists, because I think part of the problem for me was that coming here actually seemed to be leaving the sort of bubble that I'd grown up in. I come from a very liberal city, and I wasn't exposed to the kind of different ideas and mentalities and ideologies that other people have. And coming here has exposed me to the way that large portions of the world think, and exposed me to different issues that I didn't even know were issues at all. And I'm really thankful that I've gotten the opportunity to experience those different perspectives, and I've gotten the opportunity to debate them and think them through. I think that's made me a more well-rounded person. I think it's made me better at critical analysis. And I'm excited to bring new solutions and new ideas back home when I go back.
I feel like I've grown a lot. It's been hard, but I've grown a lot. So yeah. Orientation week, all of orientation week, where UWC felt like this never-ending party. It brings together so many people from so many different walks of life, not only so many countries, but also like of so many ideologies and values. So it's really interesting. You always get to challenge yourself that way. Always being questioned about my beliefs by other people, which I initially thought was an attack against me, but was actually something that I now cherish. I cherish people that help me see a different perspective and help me question my own. Like to be surrounded by so many people that add so much to my life, even if I don't personally talk to them that much, they still add to the vibe of the place and they bring so much positivity. I think just the overall openness of it, like you can go to anybody's room and then just sit down and have like a deep talk with them, and it's not weird, you know? So, yeah.
People say that it's not the place, it's the people, but I think I'll miss both. Just walking like 100 meters and then you're going to a friend's home, because now it'll be like more like traveling 3,000 miles, and like so I'll miss that comfort of like just being with like the people that I got close with. As a movement, I just like that it creates an environment where we can like be like the truest version of ourselves. Like we can show, we don't have to be afraid to show exactly who we are, and like others feel that way too. So it provides a place where we can show the raw, uncut version of ourselves, and I think it better helps us to like understand each other, and then like it definitely helps with like open-mindedness, and like I think you can grow a lot just by knowing the stories of others or like seeing people in their elements. And yeah, dyeing my friends hair in a bathroom and then hurrying to clean it up before curfew, because like it happened on more than one occasion, and then once it was my hair, so like yeah, good times. Chinese New Year 2018, because I had this amazing host family and they have a son in the school also, and like they showed us the people would say like the real China, whereas like they showed us like all of the cracks and ins, and like we got to see them like not for the like successful people that they were, but we got to see them in their element as a parent, as a son. They developed our appreciation for like Chinese culture by just sharing their most special moments with us, and like I'm forever thankful for that.
I really enjoy Kurt Hahn's quotes, and one of them being, "There is more in you than you think," and I really associated with that here. I feel like it's a holistic approach to education and a holistic approach to how we can like actually have an impact on the world and actually create change. Nowhere in the world you can find such a crazy community, such a loving and caring community. There is no pause, you just keep on going. Every day is just, you're never bored here. Back home I was not very active, whereas here I forgot what it was like to be bored. You always have something to do, someone to talk to, and it's just wonderful. Not taking Chinese and being in China for 2 years was an insane experience, in the sense that I had to like always find my way through, and finding my way through in places like the village, which are so close to us, and places that we always go through. I like visualize this like one moment once when I went with my firsties to the village, and I ended up playing with kids on like games that we have back home, like just playing around with the kids for like a good half an hour, and I didn't speak one word of Chinese, and I didn't speak even one word of Chinese, I think. But point is, we just played around. China's great. I think becoming a second year was the most fruitful experience. I think like being a DP1 here, I experienced a lot. I got to see so many things that I'd never seen before. But becoming a DP2, I matured a lot. I grew up a lot, in the sense that I found what I was passionate about, and I decided what I wanted to do and how I wanted to do it. It's home to be here.
when I came here, I had to reform myself as a person because everything that I thought that described me was taken away from me. My friends, my family, my gymnastics career. And I just came and I was no longer the athlete or the smartest in the class or the funny one because I couldn't make jokes in English. I just had to find out who I was when all of that was taken away. I've never felt more alive than I feel here. And I really, really like that. There's always someone in here that's gonna contradict anything you say. And I don't think that there's another place where you will find all of this crash that somehow ends up in harmony. We used to do common room hopping, and any house could become your house if you just came into the common room. And we would end up talking for hours, and that's the time where I would question the most my own beliefs and the things that I learned from back home. I think one of my favorite memories was this one time that Ariela and I ended up sleeping on a spa in Xiamen because we had a layover. We had just been in Hong Kong, so we were very broke. And we had booked a hotel, but there was a mistake in the booking. And we realized that every hotel in Xiamen was packed because there was a conference. So the only alternative was to sleep in the hotel spa. And the girl offered a place. And I really like how we never felt unsafe. And there's this thing about China that makes you feel very safe wherever you go and very welcomed. And it's one of the crazy stories that I got from living here.
Well, I'm a very devout visual arts student, so I really love this space. It's very inspiring, and I've spent a lot of long nights here toiling away. Yeah. Coming here was a huge opportunity, and then being in China, I've had like a lot of very lucky things happen to me, very like amazing opportunities that I don't think I could have got at any other UWC. And those are mostly related to like my art practice and opportunities that I've found. Like we have a cartoonist living on campus who like took me to comic conventions, and if we had been at any other UWC, I don't think I would have been able to do that. Right at the beginning of DP1, where there was one night where there was this huge thunder and lightning storm, and a group of us ran outside and we're just like watching all these big like fork lightning strikes over the lake, and it was really beautiful. And I come from New Zealand, which is a country with like a lot of natural beauty, and then coming to China where it's like very industrial, it can be quite hard sometimes, but you know, there are still instances where I see like these beautiful, you know, natural things, and I'm like, it kind of helps me to like feel more at home here. When you move away from home, it's sort of terrifying, and it's hard, but then you sort of build a new family and a new home out of the people who are here. Yeah, so to then have to leave that is going to be really sad, but I will visit them. When I applied to UWC, the thing that stood out to me was like, it felt very utopian, sort of like everybody's coming here to learn about how to be change makers and how to save the world. And I think even when you get here and maybe it's not exactly what you thought it would be, we still have this kind of like idea that we're building something better and we're working towards something greater, and that's exciting.
It's a very exciting journey for me to be studying 3 years in the United World College. When I was a pre-DP, I was always thinking about initiating my project, TEDx, and at UWC I was given an opportunity to do that. So there are a lot of kind of fun activities going on. So I'm very energetic every day when I am in the UWC. So from here I learned that collaborating is an essential thing for a team to work, and I believe it will create maximum productivities rather than doing everything on my own. I think I'm gonna miss my Spanish class the most because I'm not a very good Spanish learner or a speaker, but I think the support and the care that my Spanish teacher Laqueo gave me actually helped me to become a more caring person. Being a local student, I'm able to speak Chinese and help a lot of my peers here to facilitate with their shopping and you know, just basic life needs. So I think I've made quite a few solid friendships through that way, and I'm happy to help other people within my personal ability. If you ask me, how does UWC change me as a person, I would say it changed me to an optimistic person. When I face any kind of a failure, I would not try to blame myself, but with the optimism I usually have, I will carry it forward and learn from my mistakes. So that's what makes me happy every day and motivates me to do some better works.
We don't have to enjoy this here, but I often ask myself, how could I not? It's just that every day I go around and like, again, realize what wonder it is that I'm here and that all the other people that are here and how well it fits together. And just that every day I don't know what to do but enjoy it. Maybe that it gives us the impression that so many things that are so extraordinary are so normal, like having, let's say, lunch conversation with people from all different places of the world, having a class with people like that, brushing your teeth in the evening in the bathroom with people like that. They make this like very utopic, for me maybe, dream into like a very interesting reality, and I think that's great about the UWC movement. It transforms these very great ideas into very banal realities. I started here as somebody who was really tactical. I very much just reacted to whatever happened to me, and UWC made me learn a lot about understanding that a plan is very useful and understanding that having a goal is very useful. And instead of reacting to whatever comes to you, having a plan and making steps how to get there, how to be strategic. In my background back home, we really don't practice patriotism or nationalism at all. And so coming here, there was like a lens that I viewed a lot of the activities on campus, like a lens I looked through on a lot of the activities on campus, because it's obviously reality on campus that everyone is very aware of the different nations they're from, and everyone develops a little bit more of this cultural pride and national pride. And I always felt like, oh, that's a bit weird. And so I feel that my background really gave me a very different perspective on all these issues than most other people had that would just engage in these things, where I was like, oh, that's actually something we don't do. And I always took more of a step back for that from these kind of things. I think my favorite memory in the context of China was my DP2 project week. So we went to the Wudang Mountains and actually lived for a week in a Kung Fu academy and learned about Taoism and ancient Eastern philosophy and religion, and also studied Kung Fu at the same time. And it was just, for me, a very good experience because I could actually explore Chinese culture. It didn't feel like textbook learning. It was really experiential learning. It was really doing the Kung Fu, talking with somebody who really lives Taoism, about Taoism, and really just jumping into that kind of life for a week, which I felt was great.
UWC is, I mean, at least for me, it's all about like exploring. I like to spend a lot of time on my hobbies or on sports, for example, and so that's why like a lot of the time at UWC is mostly like spending time with people and having fun. That's toward the beginning of the first year, a bit. I think it was either orientation week or a bit after we were playing school-wide hide and seek. That was amazing. Like because hide and seek is fun with like less people, but with the whole school, it's just like there's so many things going on. People were like running around chasing each other, and I remember this specific moment when me and a couple of friends were hiding in a classroom. It was dark. We went into the closet, and then we all like start laughing, and it's just beautiful. Like it's such a good memory of UWC. Just learning from people and being inspired to do something for instance, as easy as playing football. Like it's such a passion of mine. It's such a important part of my life. Like I play so much football at home, but like I've improved so much just by getting to talk to like people who actually like play at home as well, and then following each other's comments, and especially last year with our captain, who is really good at football. It's very like inspirational to see him play, to listen to him, and it really helps me grow, not just as a football player, but as an individual, to be like committed to something and to like continue to come to practice every single day, even though we have like work to do. In project week, so my project week group went on a hiking trip, and surprisingly there was a lot of snow. So the best memory was, I think, was when we were at the peak of the mountain. Only half the group was there because the rest went back down. So that was like beautiful. We get to see like an amazing view with the people who make it, and that feeling of accomplishment just like resonates in me for a really long time. Being from the countryside and then coming here, people, like just talking to people in general is like, and then I start telling people about life in the countryside and how it is different from a countryside. Let's say from like a good friend of mine is from the Netherlands, and he says he's from the countryside, and we're so different. Like the farm he grew up on and the farm I grew up on is completely different. And then I start telling people about how I don't have electricity when I was like 0 to 12, and then they were so amazed. And then I was just like, it's just a part of my life. It's just like, it's just very exciting, very fun, interesting to see how people react to the different things I say about where I grew up and how I've come this far from like a countryside life to learning English to coming to UWC.
When I learned how much I love this place was deeper one Christmas dinner. So it was this big grand dinner before the Christmas concert, and I was really, really excited for Christmas because I missed home a lot. And then I sit down and I eat, and Santa Claus walks in, and I start crying because I looked back on the semester that I put past me, and I was just so extremely grateful. I was really, really nervous before coming here, obviously, and in that moment, I really felt like I had found my place, and I had this chance to like reflect on how truly amazing the semester I had put past me was, and yeah, it had everything been okay, all the stuff that I was nervous for. I think coming back after the summer and becoming a DP2, I've helped me grow a lot, because as a comer I had to figure out what this school was outside of the context of the 200 whatever people that had left, and what this school was going to be with all the new people coming in. And I think that was really, really good, and it helped me sort of grow independently of what I felt was maybe the ideas of my second years. And it was really, really good to be able to shape the school into what I wanted to be. Yeah. The idea of idealism, I think, that's something that I've found in myself after having spent 2 years here, and also which I find in my friends, is how we are all very optimistic, in that we have very little barriers stopping us from doing much. And I think that's something I really, really like. We all have a very positive outlook on the world, I like to believe, at least. And we have very idealistic ideas of what we're going to do next and what the world can be. And I think that's something that's very valuable. My very first Golden Week, I went to Huangshan, the Yellow Mountains, and we hiked for 3 days or so. And it was really tough and it was really challenging. We were a group of first-years who had then been in China for 3 months or so. We had no Chinese speakers with us. And we had been on a 13-hour train there, and it was really, really wild and really, really intense and very different from everything they were done before. And then hiking for 3 days was obviously physically challenging. But then afterwards, just this, we felt so proud all of us, and it was really, really cool. And I think I've learned to love China a lot after that trip. I really have come to understood what love is being here, both in a romantic and a platonic way, I guess. And yeah, that has been really, really good for me. This feeling of being loved and having somewhere always to go. Yeah.